Well, howdy, everybody. We're excited to have you all here, man. Thanks for joining us for our first class in our new 3E solution-based series for this year. For those of you guys who aren't as familiar with some of the big changes we've done to 3E this year, I'm going to take a little bit of time to unpack, what it's going to look like for you guys before we jump into the presentation here today. First and foremost, we want to thank the Radians folks for being here and helping develop this class. As you guys can see on the screen here, this class is very targeted. They're actually going to be helping coach us on how to sell eye and face protection, vision protection into the healthcare industry. And that's a great place to start for an understanding of how 3E is going to change for y'all this year. First off, it's going to be pretty virtual for most of the year, as you guys can probably imagine. But more importantly, the change that we've helped to make is really work to gear these trainings to be sales oriented, and in particular, to be oriented around our solution-based sales philosophy. Those of you in C certification who've attended our solution-based sales course, you're going to understand these concepts to a great degree. But those of you who haven't, this stuff's still going to be very, very valuable, and it'll make it all the more enticing for you to come to solution-based and round out that education. But what we're going to be doing in this series of classes throughout the year is we as Safety Network are picking target industries for our classes to focus on. In this instance, you see our target industry is healthcare. And we're going to focus on a particular industry for about 8 weeks for all of our classes. So we're actually going to be talking about healthcare industry for the next 8 weeks when we do 3E classes. Now, every supplier who signs up to help coach a class to our target industry, they pick a product category, maybe 1 or 2 product categories that they want to help us get more proficient at selling into that industry. So again, all the classes for the year are always going to have a target industry in mind, as well as a target product category in mind. And we're talking about how to sell that product category into that target industry in every one of these 3E classes. Another great element that we're going to have in these classes is these guys are learning our solution-based methodology that we teach y'all, and they're working to complement that. And what they do is we actually collaborate on building a target opportunity sheet together. For those of you that have been to solution-based sales, that'll be a very familiar term. For those who aren't, it's very simply a questioning technique document. It's a document that summarizes the suggested questions you should ask the customer in order to demonstrate your expertise and get the information that you need in order to offer them a solution. In particular, the questioning technique coaches us on what pain points this customer could be experiencing with this product category and suggest questions we can ask to see if we can expose if they are experiencing that pain. And we know that if we can identify some of those pains, it positions us to offer a solution to take care of that pain. So in every class that you guys come to in this 3E series, we are going to deliver to you guys a completed target opportunity sheet, a completed summary of the suggested questions that we would ask about this product category in this particular industry to help enable you in your sales efforts out there with customers. We want you to leave these trainings not going, I learned a bunch of stuff, now what am I going to do in my customer meeting? We want you to leave these classes going, I know exactly what I want to do in my customer meeting to go and grow sales for my organization and this supplier. So with that in mind, when you attend these classes, that's when we will send you those summarized questioning techniques, those target opportunity sheets. So please, keep joining us, keep attending these things. You can't just register for them. For our suppliers, it's a huge value in being able to help communicate with you and have follow-up with you and be on the same page. So we really encourage you to attend and not only get the live presentation, a chance for Q&A, but you'll also be given that summary, that questioning technique that I know that you guys are going to value very greatly. As a last note before I hand it off over to Radians, I just want to point out an extra step that we're taking to help you guys turn this training into sales opportunities. So every supplier who trains us on how to sell a product category into an industry is also going to conduct an end user facing webinar on Safeopedia. So they're going to actually have the same topic, the same industry, and be talking to that end user customer base, explaining to them that, hey, we understand that you're going to have some pains and challenges managing this product category in your industry. Here's how that supplier can help you address those. And oh, by the way, we just finished training Safety Network on how to help you in this process. So reach out to them and they can help you look at this product category in your industry. And the idea there is we want you guys, each sales rep, each C-certified enrolled sales rep that's in our organization, as well as your organizations in general, sharing out that webinar. If we can share that webinar to the end user customers, it will actually generate leads and opportunities for you to bring out to the customer base. So the idea is, you're going to have your training, you're going to learn how to sell, and then we're going to give you a webinar to promote to your end users. They'll sign up and register for it. You'll get the names and the people who signed up for it, and you'll be able to call them and use your questioning technique because they were interested in the exact same topic that you just got trained on. The whole goal is enabling you to leave this training and then go out and market and find opportunities to use your training to produce sales. And Radians is going to be more than ready to support you guys in that process because they're helping coach around the whole technique and helping pique the curiosity of those end users. So I hope that's a good summary. It's a lot to unpack quickly, but we're really, really excited about this process. Well, again, we're going to do it with every single 3E class this year. So you're going to have a lot of opportunities to generate leads using their end user webinars and a lot of opportunities to use your target opportunity sheets on those folks. So as a last note, again, we'll switch industries every 8 weeks. We'll have multiple classes within those 8 weeks coaching that industry. So with that, I want to pass it off over here to Dave and Pete. I can't thank you guys enough for the hard work you've put into developing this class, learning our solution-based techniques, and helping us develop that target opportunity sheet so that we know how to ask these questions and navigate the sales meeting. Can't wait to see you guys walk us through this thing. And with that, I'll pass it off to you guys, and we look forward to seeing the show.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks a lot, Brandon. My name is Dave Larimer. I'm the Vice President of Radians, and I lead the industrial sales team. And with me today is Pete Esposito, and Pete is our he's actually been at Radians longer than I have, and definitely our senior regional sales manager. And I think we were talking before this that he has over 25 years of work in specifically selling glasses, to industrial applications as well as scientific or healthcare applications. Everything we're talking about today applies to healthcare. And but it also is a little bit broader, and you can think of this depending on the nature of your market and what industries exist in your market. It will easily apply for research, for schools, industrials, universities, as well as pharmacy and biotech research areas. They're very similar in terms of the challenges that they have to address. And I don't know that the average industrial distributor has really realizes how big the healthcare and the science and the research market is. But one of the things that's happened as a result of COVID, and if anybody's been to an airport, or all of a sudden now you're seeing a lot more people wearing eye protection that didn't used to wear eye protection before. I don't think that these people are going to quit using eye protection for a long time. Whether or not they're vaccinated in the next 2 weeks, or this is a population of people that will be vaccinated before a lot of us. But the practice of wearing eye protection has become now part of their, for almost a year, part of their daily routine. And there's things about it that they like, and there's things about it that they don't like. And that's where we come in. And what we, our role, Radians, myself and Pete, we are product manufacturing people. And so we have a tendency to really focus on features and benefits and things like that. And we really want to take a step back, because what we need distributors, what makes a really strong partnership is when we're working with a distributor that finds opportunities that we can then help facilitate and execute and close. And that's really what we want to do, is strengthen up and build a stronger herd of people that are capable, confident, and motivated to pursue eye protection in this particular category. So as we roll through this, as far as objectives go, you really want to bring awareness and shine a light on the fact that it is a major segment of the eye protection market. The consequence of working in a hospital and not wearing safety glasses 12 months ago, 18 months ago, might not have been that significant, but it's definitely much more significant today, and it always potentially involves the the aspect of infectious diseases, which you don't run into in industrial applications. That raises the scope, the stakes significantly. Hopefully, in our conversation today, will help you understand questions that better help you discover legitimate opportunities. So, just because you have a population of people wearing glasses doesn't necessarily mean they have a problem. And we're not trying to create a baiting technique to where you talk people into feeling like they need something that they don't really need. There is enough people out there where there's 250 to 500 people that are working, that go to the same address, that are doing something that involves risk, hazard, things that could potentially result in an eye injury. That if there's 200 people working there and they have the potential for eye injury, there's somebody that cares about reducing the potential for that to happen. And if there's 20 people there and there's not that much of a hazard, it's probably not worth your time. And if it's the kind of organization where safety or risk management doesn't have any influence over decisions that they make, and purchasing controls the whole conversation, then again, you may find that there's not that great of an opportunity to deliver anything in terms of value other than what you can do for price. And what we can't influence that you guys can influence is acquisition costs. And that's the other thing that's part of our, that we're dependent on, because we don't sell to end users, and we need distributors to complete that part of the, connect that piece of pipe to the whole pipeline. Additionally, we want to make sure we get into enough discussion about products so you really understand the variables of eye protection relative to design and function that lead up to helping you identify products that will produce solutions that will provide the greatest value. All right, and so what did I just do here? Okay, my screen back. I hit the wrong button. Sorry. But the overall theme is that we try to teach ourselves, that we try to talk about anytime we're in front of a group of distributors or end users, is prioritizing protection over price. Because anytime you can you can increase protection that reduces injuries, you'll deliver more value than you could ever deliver in price alone. Okay, that is in 20 years I've never been able to see that that's proven wrong. In a situation where protection matters. Right. So, all right, I'm going to step back for a second and let Pete take over here.
All right, well, let's get into it. Did you know almost 19,000 work-related eye injuries resulting in days missed from work were reported in 2019, and we got that stat from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics for 2019. And of those, 9% of those injuries, eye injuries, occurred in the healthcare industry. So, opportunities. Where do these injuries happen? Well, all eyewear injuries in the healthcare industry, 36% hospitals, 31% nursing and residential care facilities. That's a big opportunity. Only 15% in ambulatory services. Would have thought that was higher. Being a first responder, you would think that's where most you would get most eye injuries, but actually no, in the hospital itself. Okay, so who's most affected? The occupations with the highest risk of injury in the healthcare field? Well, the healthcare support. You've got your orderlies, you've got your nursing assistants, psychiatric aides, your health and personal care aides, health technicians, technologists, healthcare diagnosing, treating practitioners, registered nurses, and don't forget the maintenance crew as well. So injuries and how do they occur? All kinds of potential hazards in healthcare and in the industry. Blood-borne pathogens probably being the biggest, as we all know, body fluids and blood. Nursing staff, doctors, surgeons, they're subjected to that regularly. Chemical splash, there's custodians, there's lab techs. There are chemical splash and battery charging operations throughout the hospital. A hospital's a little bit of an industry in itself. If you ever really get into the backbones of a hospital, there's all kinds of professions going on there. I've seen wood shops in there and maintenance and boiler facilities. So chemical splash, custodians, lab techs, infrared UV radiation, a lot of radiologists, even dental facilities dental surgeries and stuff. And of course, you still have your impact areas as well.
The other thing I would add to this that's changed in the last year is that today, anybody walking through the front door of a hospital or a healthcare facility is going to have eye protection on, no matter what, just to be in the proximity of another human being because of the potential of delivering a virus.
True.
That is a big game changer. That's where I'm talking, that's why we talk about the fact that this segment has become a lot bigger and a lot more important than it used to be. It may have been on, it may not have been on your radar.
Right. Challenges. What are the challenges these healthcare professionals, the obstacles they face with putting people in eye protection? Fogging. I think everybody knows now that face masks, we've all worn face masks. Fogging is a huge issue. It's probably the number one issue with non-compliance from people not wearing their glasses is fogging. Prescription glasses. Are your folks wearing prescription glasses? Can they wear an OTG, an over-the-glass glass? Can they use a safety bifocal? We all make the safety bifocals. They have the diopters that go from 1.0 to 3.0. So if you just have a reading issue, maybe you can get away with safety glasses with diopters. And of course, fit is always the biggest pain point for anybody in safety glasses. Are they comfortable? If you're wearing them all day. The nose is always the hardest portion of fit people. Everybody has a different size nose. Temples. If you wear glasses like I do, I think everybody knows after a long day behind your ears where those temples were, just killing you. Is that a problem? So comfort, functionality, long periods of use, all important factors when we're deciding on picking coverage for safety eyewear.
Yeah, coverage is also, you can see the glasses that I'm wearing right now. And I can, if I had something coming at my face, directly at my face, these glasses will, they're polycarbonate. They'll probably stop it and probably protect me. But the surface area, the coverage is not great enough to really be much, to provide me anything in terms of intentional protection. So that's where you get into, larger frames where you have more coverage, or larger lenses where you have more coverage. And you can see the contour is different to where it eliminates gaps from things that could come down above your head that you would get from prescription glasses. So.
All right, let's talk about fogging. There you go. Let's talk about fogging. Fogging by far is the number one issue people have with seeing. Everybody's been in masks this past year, so we all know how that just exacerbates the fogging situation. The number one issue with anything, especially fogging and fit, is compliance. It's the reason that you have eye injuries. It's not always because you folks don't have access to safety glasses. It's they don't wear them. Why don't they wear them? Because they're fogging. Why don't they wear them? Because they're uncomfortable. So these are really the issues. Are you currently using an anti-fog glass? If you say, well, I still have fogging issues and we're using anti-fog glasses, well, maybe you should try some different anti-fog glasses. Maybe you should try more of a vented glass. Maybe you need to move to a goggle. There's all kinds of different remedies, and these are just a few. Do you use lens wipes to clean your glasses and goggles? Sometimes it's a matter of training your folks. They're cleaning their glasses with the wrong thing. How many times you walked into shops and whatnot, and guys are cleaning their stuff with Windex and blanket wash, and they're actually just taking the coating right off their glasses, but they don't even know it. So that's a bit of a training issue probably. And so lens wipes, how you're cleaning your glasses, how you store them, how you take care of them, all can help you with fogging or help you get a solution to fogging.
The other thing about fogging that is, everybody's experienced issues with contractors, with manufacturers, with people that didn't used to have to wear masks 100% of the time with their glasses that are experiencing the fogging problems that they are today. In healthcare, people have always worn masks and have always had this challenge, and they struggle with it. That problem isn't going to go away, and it's really it's going to be compounded by the fact that now you have administration people wearing glasses that didn't used to wear them. Where you might have had 30% of a population inside of a healthcare facility wearing glasses, now you have 80 to 100% of the people wearing them and wearing masks. So the best, it's if you start to ask questions about this, instead of starting to tell them how great your anti-fog is, you can kind of get them to share what their, it doesn't take much to get somebody to open up and talk about things that are their pain points, okay? And this is a very rich area to identify a situation, because so many people will just say, I don't care what your glasses look like, I don't care what they feel like, I just have to buy them, we have to make them available, it's 100% compliance. And then when you talk to somebody and you ask a question, you know, do you have a fogging issue? You know, you start to get people to open up, and you start to change the direction, you start to create a different context for you know, framing up something about protection, as opposed to just discussing how you can deliver a lower cost solution there. I would imagine if there's people that are listening to this conversation right now that have been in the industry for 5 years or more, you probably don't spend a ton of time selling glasses or looking for glasses opportunities, because so many times it comes down to price, and there just isn't that much value to deliver. Or there isn't, you know, there isn't a new, less expensive glass. I mean, when you're buying glasses for the prices that they sell for today, it is difficult. You know, there's a lot of situations, a lot of applications, there's a lot of places that use a lot of glasses where there's just no more meat left on the bone. So it's really important to help identify other things that change the context of the conversation, and fogging is definitely something that people need to become comfortable with and strong with. So,
yeah. For sure.
moving
Move on
into
to prescription glasses.
Yep.
Move on to prescription glasses. No, that's fine. You know, do you have, do your folks wear prescription glasses? If they are they RX lens approved? You know, not all lenses that you get from your optometrist are polycarbonate and meet the ANSI Z87 Plus for impact. So if you do have folks in prescription glasses, you have to make sure that their lenses are certified RX and meet the applicable specs. Also, are they wearing side shields? And are they wearing ANSI approved side shields? There's a lot of side shields out there that people slip on their glasses. You want to make sure that they're ANSI approved. That is a big part of the Z87 is the side shield protection. Radians, of course, we have one that slips on your glasses. There's a lot of them out there. Make sure they're ANSI approved. Get them on your prescription glasses. And like I said, if you don't have to wear prescription glasses, or if you're only wearing them for reading, perhaps you can get into a safety glass with a diopter that works for you. It makes it much easier. Or you can go with the OTG glasses, the over-the-glass glasses. Perhaps a goggle if you're in a splash area, if you have debris problems. Lots of solutions for people that are wearing glasses. Dave's got some side shields on right there.
But, you know, just look at how much, you know, if this was the direction that I could be protected from with my glasses alone, now I increase the range and the direction and the, you know, the area that I'm protected from dramatically. I mean, it's, you know, it's much greater. And in healthcare, the other thing that is worth noting is that there's not that many applications in healthcare where people are required to use ANSI rated impact, you know, level protection glasses. So you have a lot more people wearing prescription glasses that need something like this to enhance the protection value of the glasses. So it's a really, this is a side shields make a big difference. So.
Okay, proper fit. We've been going through pain points for the healthcare industry and picking out safety glasses. Of course, fogging is the huge issue. What's the other one? Fit, proper fit. You know, how do you get a good fit? How do you choose the right eyewear? Well, how long do you wear your safety glasses, your goggles for a day? That's a huge factor, like we were talking about. If you wear glasses, you know, the temples, if you're just wearing an inexpensive pair of glasses that have no temple, rubber temple or tips, it's going to drive you nuts all day. Are there gaps leaving vulnerable debris getting behind your lenses? You know, whenever you put on a pair of safety eyewear, you always check from your brow, around the side, underneath your cheeks. Are there gaps? Is there any possibility that I can get an eye injury just from wearing these glasses? Do they fit in the nose area? The nose is always the hardest to fit because there's so many different sized noses. You can't have one nose bridge for everybody. You can have some pliable nose bridges, some rubber nose bridges, ones that work better than others. If you have just a regular molded nose bridge on an inexpensive pair of glasses, they're not going to fit as well. So these are the questions, and fit is everything. Fit will give you compliance. If you're comfortable in your glasses, you won't take them off.
Whoops, I forgot I had the clicker control.
The clicker control. Goggles. You'll see goggles. Most people only wear goggles in a splash situation, and you really can't blame them. They're not the most comfortable eyewear to wear. You have to wear them in a splash application. But sometimes you have so much debris, so many particulates that can just fall into your eyes that people have to wear goggles. But the newest thing out there is foam glasses. I mean, newest thing, I say that they've probably been around the last 6 years, 7 years. But it's a great in-betweener, I call it, between the goggle and the glass. You have debris problems. I don't want to wear a goggle. Safety glasses just aren't going to do it. There's nothing better than foam lined glasses. The foam sticks right around your face from your cheekbones over to your brow, and it kind of gives you a sealed fit. It's breathable. There's channels for air to get in there, so you don't have the fogging issues. They're anti-fog lenses. But it's a solution. It's a solution for a particulate problem.
It's all about closing the gap around your face. And obviously, everybody knows you can go to a goggle, you can put on a full face respirator, but you also have to have comfort and ventilation. And this is not often the kind of protection that somebody wears for extended periods of time because it's so tight on your face.
Mm-hmm. I think there's one more on there. Small framed glasses. We're just trying to fit people comfortably, trying to eliminate those gaps. There's a lot of smaller faces. There's a lot of Asian women, Mexican, everybody with small faces, children. You're trying to fit a wide range of people. You need smaller fitting glasses for smaller faces. It just goes without saying, just like you need bigger frame glasses for bigger frame headed people as well.
All right. So then the question becomes, what you want to drill into, and a good starting place to think about in terms of framing up, a protection-oriented conversation. What is the level of hazard? Do they, and if you're requiring eye protection, or you have a body of people working in an application that requires eye protection, you have to do a hazard assessment. So somebody out there has done this, has come to this determination of what is, if it's a simple hazard, if it's a basic hazard, or if it's an extreme hazard. And the other thing you want to find out is what's the range, what's the scope? Is there a variety of hazards in a workforce? Can they use one glass for everything they do, across 1,000 people, 500 people? Or do they have applications where they need to train people to use a higher level of protection because they have a higher level of risk? So all of the safety glasses that we manufacture, 99.9% of them are going to meet ANSI C87.1 for impact protection. The nice thing about ANSI rated safety glasses, even though in some healthcare and science applications you don't need impact protection, is you get that coverage, and you're also looking at glasses that are designed to be worn for an entire shift. So they're generally comfortable, they're lightweight, and they're often designed to be affordable because they're bought for compliance. People sometimes have to wear them, not because they want to wear them. So those are benefits that are in our favor. So there's, when you think about, I guess when I think about healthcare, something that would be a differentiator between that scale from simple to moderate to more hazardous. I would say if I was not going to be exposed to a splash or some type of bloodborne pathogen, a chemical or a pathogen, I probably would not be that concerned, as concerned about how tightly that pair of glasses fit. As you go up and you find splash applications, that changes the scenario, that increases the stakes. And then the features that you can employ to address this are going to be, if you take a full feature glass, this is our Thraxis, and it has a very, it's probably one of the most popular glass, one of the more comfortable glasses available. but it has a really nice temple. It has a really nice nose piece. It has venting in the built into the frame, and sometimes that's more than somebody really needs to invest in because the hazard doesn't warrant wearing a glass that costs a little bit more. So then we have simpler frames, simpler styles, where you maybe incorporate a little bit of material into the temple to make it a little more comfortable. And then there's other glasses that have absolutely, they're just all plastic. They're a temple, a lens, and a frame. And the simpler glasses are generally what you see more often utilized for simpler hazards. But don't let somebody, it doesn't mean that everybody in that environment is never exposed to something that's beyond, beyond a simple hazard. So other factors that you can utilize are things like neck cords, so you don't lose your glasses. How full a frame do you have? Like I said, the one-piece design, and I really, I'm wearing glasses right now that are super light, and if I put on a pair of glasses that's even a little bit heavier, it's pretty immediately noticeable. That's an adjustment that I can make, but it takes me a couple of days to get used to that. And those adjustments are the kind of thing that make people sour to the idea of trying something new. So anyway, if you look at these glasses on the bottom here, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse here, but these are newer style glasses where the contour of the frame is the temples is a lot more similar to the shape of your head. So instead of grabbing the back of your head this way and holding on, it grabs the back of your head softly and gently, and it just kind of like you don't feel it. And if the glasses are designed correctly, you won't have a discomfort towards the end of the day that you get when you have an older style glass that either holds onto the back of your ear or it holds onto the side of your head. And if you look at this balsamo there in the front there, you can see that that's a really, it's almost like what you think of as an aviator style temple, but it has another material molded into it that's softer, that actually has a good slip resistance on the side of your head, which keeps the glasses up on your nose. And I guess the biggest reason I get into this much detail about a glass like this is most people don't think that inexpensive glasses can make a marginal difference in increasing the protection that you need. And what happens when your glass slides down your face is that it comes down on your nose like this. Your hands are full. This happens while you're working, you're moving around, and pretty soon your glasses is not all the way up on your face. It's somewhere down on your nose because the design of the glass doesn't help hold it on your head. And now you've just dramatically increased the amount of area that you have for something to get behind your glasses, which is what you're trying to prevent, obviously. And there are some really nice, less expensive designs today that are available that are really represents a pretty significant innovation in terms of increasing protection without making a big investment in the cost of the product. So, any other thoughts on this, Pete?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. It's amazing that you can get so many features in economy glasses anymore. So you've done a really nice job of that.
Yep. So then you move into, you increase the level exposure. Typically what happens, just like in an industrial application, the work that you're doing demands 100% of your protection, and you're not able to payment, to use proximity, to use something that I can't move my glasses up if I'm carrying a body onto a gurney if I'm an emergency, an EMT type person. But you can imagine when you're in that environment, you're trying to save somebody's life, you've got to commit, and these guys the people that do this, if you think about doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, I know that that's not probably something that you have to do today with the equipment that they carry, but you know, you're going to go in there and you're going to stop a you know, major bleeding, however you have to do it, and you can't do it from a distance. And it takes eye protection that stays in place and it does its job, whether or not you're paying attention to it. And that's when you have the potential to experience that kind of hazard, that you don't have the ability to really pay attention to the protection that you're wearing. That's where your foam line glasses really come in, because they exponentially seal off the amount of area that you could have anything come in from above, from below, from the side, and they're still comfortable enough to wear when you're, you know, exerting, you know, like in a firefighter type situation. And they come in a, you know, a dramatic range of styles, from pretty inexpensive to, you know, relatively expensive.
Right.
You know, where if you want to spend more time on, you know, where people want to pay more money for a combination of design as well as function. So extreme hazard applications, you know, those are just things where you can't control what could happen. You're working with something that if it got in your eye, it would create a burn. It could create a contamination. It could create an infection. And obviously, you know, there's situations where people cover their entire body to protect themselves from contaminations. But there's also situations where you're using cleaning chemicals, where you're using sanitation chemicals, where you're using reactive agents in research and things like that that you don't want to become in contact with. And the worst place that type of chemical can get on your body is on your eye, in your eye. So, and it's not hard to imagine that. I don't need to give belabor that much more. But that's when you need the most protection possible. You know, and that's where people move into, away from a safety glass, even a foam line safety glass, into a tight sealed goggle. And then the question is, how do you use this kind of protection for more than 20 minutes? This is the type of glass that everybody was familiar with. There it is. These perforated goggles, everybody, I don't know if at least when I went to high school, this is what we used in science class, and they were fine if you used them for 15 minutes, but I can't imagine having to use this for more than that type of duration of time, because they're not designed to be comfortable. They're heavy. They sit on your face. They dent into your skin if they stay on your face. And so there's been a lot of energy invested in the seal of using softer materials that actually fits up against your face, and you feel a lot less of the weight and a lot less of the pressure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The cloak, you know, these are glasses that are proven in really hardcore industrial applications, you know, refineries, chemical processing, manufacturing, heavy industry, and they are very comfortable for working inside and using in a healthcare environment. So, non-rated glasses, kind of back, you know, this is sort of kind of a continuation of the conversation about prescription glasses. Each one of these glasses would fit over my prescription glasses very decently, but I'm not going to want to wear an OTG, you know, more than it would take me to walk from the front of the building to the back of the building through, you know, kind of on a visitor, you know, or on a passing application. It's when you fit a pair of glasses, you find a pair of glasses, even when it fits well over, a pair of glasses that fits well over your existing glasses, it's a lot to have on your face, and it's a lot to, you know, to keep in place. So they tend to move around, and if you're doing any type of motion, you're going to have to, you know, this is a long-term solution, but it is it's one of the biggest, you know, segments of the market when you think of healthcare, is simple solutions that work for almost anybody, because you have to deal with people that come into an environment that don't have eye protection on. So we talked about the flexible side shields. They dramatically improve that. You know, and you think about somebody that's doing surgery or, you know, working with a microscope. A lot of the research work, those are people that can't afford to get away from. You know, I can see everything that's within this range without my prescription lenses. If it's a little bit further away than that, I can't see it, you know. So if I'm a surgeon or, you know, most healthcare professionals, obviously you're going to have to, you can't compromise that. So, and considering the fact that you're in an environment that doesn't always require anti-impact protection, side shields can be a, you know, a really valuable solution. Side shields that work. So, again, Pete mentioned earlier bifocals. Then that is a safety glass with a contour, you know, that's molded into the lens. That gives you the ability to get a, you know, I don't know, what's the diopter range, Pete?
1.0 to 3.0.
Yeah, so it's a pretty wide range of diopters, and
Right.
you know, and you know, in a lot of cases, I'd rather wear a cheater safety glass than some of the you know, the reading glasses that you that are made available. But
Absolutely.
know,
If it's a problem of reading, you'd rather get into that. Like you were saying with the OTGs, and I wear glasses as well. It's clunky. It's clunky on your face. I mean, it serves its purpose, but if you had to wear them all day, I wouldn't want to. If I could get into a cheater where I need the diopters to read and still have, you know, more comfortable eye protection on, I'd go that way. I think everybody would every day than an OTG. So it's a solution, a possible solution. Go ahead, Dave.
Yep. And the other thing that you get into, you know, in healthcare is you'll have a full range of ages. It's not a young workforce like construction is. You know, it's, you know, there's industries where it's a young man's game. In healthcare, you know, you have people that have been there for 15, 20, 30 years. And, you know, I don't know, at some point when I got into my 40s, I had to get prescription lenses. Life happens. So, I want to get into a little more detail on fogging, because fogging, I think, you're going to find is going to be one of the biggest drivers of you know, of the value conversation that you can possibly have. And there has always been there's been anti-fog coatings that are available for glasses for a long time. And as Pete mentioned, depending on how you clean your glasses, how you take care of them, it's possible that you can wipe those coatings off. And in the last couple of years, we've found a coating that is extremely effective at reducing fogging, but more importantly, in the way that it reduces fogging, it's an economical. It's relatively economical. It doesn't really massively increase the price of the glass, and it's environmentally friendly and toxic. But more importantly, it's a very hard, durable coating that doesn't respond and isn't as dissolvable with a lens cleaning wipe or liquids or other chemicals that people might come across to clean the lenses. And it works really well in harshest environments. I mean, the places that we develop this coating for are environments where they are, you know, you can't see across the room because the amount of steam that's in the environment, the amount of humidity, the temperature's high, and the stakes are high because they're around moving equipment, and they're cleaning it with pressure washers at high temperature, and then they move into a phase where they use chemicals, and they have to have eye protection that works in fogging conditions. And so Icuity is a fogging coating that we developed that has been extremely effective for us. The biggest problem we had with Icuity in the last year is that we could not supply enough glasses for people working outside with masks on. And this will be a very effective coating for people to use for people working inside with masks on, because that's an actually easier environment to do to solve fogging problems with. Pardon me. So an example of, you know, you saw back, I'm giving it back up just a second here, and you can see that there's a range of product that's available with this type of coating. You know, a relatively simple product with a plain old lens, and then you can move up to a slightly, you know, it looks from a distance, it looks similar, but there's actually a little more feature into the temple and it's quite a bit more comfortable. And this, this really is snug on my face with the temple, the way this fits, with a gentle hold, but a really secure kind of rubbery surface that holds onto the side of my head nicely. And then you can also move into an IQ80 type coating with a higher foam, with the foam coating, and I can incorporate that. If I'm a first responder, EMT, or I'm working in an emergency situation, these glasses are not going anywhere. And I don't have a goggle on, so it's just not quite that invasive, but I'm really well protected from a lot of different things and for a reasonable amount of splash. So, and when you really need to up the game, then it's possible to go to a heavier duty glass, and with a really nice soft sealing silicone surface that seals tightly across your face and gives, something, you could throw a bucket of water at me right now and it's not going to go inside my glasses, which is not exactly the environment that I dreamed of ever having to go to work in, but there's situations where you need that kind of protection. So that was the LPX glass goggle that I just had on. It's a very well-fitting solution. It's very low profile. You don't feel like you're wearing a goggle because it's of the weight. It has a TPR thermoplastic, very soft, flexible seal that adjusts to a lot of different shapes of faces, but it also reduces the pressure for for wearing it over extended periods of time. It's latex free. The strap doesn't have latex in it. The coating helps prevent fogging, and there's no one that can really say that there's anything that's 100% fog resistant, but this is for a tight fitting lens. It gives you this level of liquid proof protection. It's the best fog resistant coating that I've seen on a glass, and we've been in a lot of tough environments, tough industrial environments where we've done wear tests and proven to be, as effective, in some cases twice as effective as just about anything that we've run into. So the other thing that's cool about this is that as you go into goggles, the other thing that people are reluctant to do to use goggles is that you go from a glass that costs less than $2 a pair to a goggle that's closer to $10 to $15 to $20 a pair. And when you do that, you want to be able to manage that cost, and it's really nice if you can reduce the if you can buy, if you get a design, if you can utilize a design where the lens and the temple can be separated and you can replace the lenses. So this particular glass, that's particularly easy to do. It's easy to sanitize because it's all there's smooth edges. There's not big places to capture debris that can grow bacteria, and it's D3 splash and D4 dust rated approved. And then moving on to face shields. Face shields are pretty self-explanatory. What a lot of people don't know that don't use face shields or have started using face shields in the past is that, they moved into face shields and it's like, hey, I need eye protection. I want something that would give me the ability to wear, eliminate glasses and to eliminate masks. And it does provide full face protection. It does enhance, the ability for, dramatically reduces the ability for something to get into your eye. But not all face shields give you the ability to provide impact protection. So you just have to know that if you do need impact protection, you need to buy an impact resistant face shield. And more often than not, they don't. They're intended to be worn with safety glasses. So there's a lot of face shields are just a simple plastic that doesn't have an impact rating.
Right.
So if that's the case, if you need an impact rating, you'd have to use it in conjunction with safety glasses. So, all right. Pete, do you have any thoughts on what we've covered so far that I didn't touch on?
I'll tell you what, the one thought I had in going through this healthcare exercise is, as being safety salespeople, as we all are, I think we've always gravitated towards the smokestack business, the construction site as being the gold mine in eye protection, safety, whatnot. And you'd be surprised at how many opportunities there are in healthcare. In just, one of these huge hospitals, there's so many different little industries going on. There's a laboratory going on inside there. That's goggle protection. There's a maintenance crew. There's a boiler room crew. There's impact protection going on. There's bloodborne pathogens that people are exposed to every day. So there's a plethora of sales opportunities, and I bet you your competition won't be as high at these places as they are at the smokestack places either. Did couple up with a hygienist or a safety director there and manage their needs in eyewear, because they're many, and I just don't think it's on everybody's chart. I mean, we run to these dirty environments, these smokestack, call them smokestack industries, manufacturing plants and huge construction sites, and I think we're overlooking some great opportunities in healthcare. I'll say that.
Yep, that's true. And Pete's from Erie, Pennsylvania, so he's familiar with smokestacks. Not everybody lives in a smokestack environment anymore, but a dirty job is a dirty job. So anyway, so how do we take advantage of this information? How do we employ techniques to go out and really grow our business, improve our relationship, strengthen the areas with the number of areas within an organization that you're delivering value to, making you more important, making them more dependent on you as a supplier, just then beyond just being an easy person to get a low price from. Again, the key is prioritizing protection over price produces the greatest value every time. And we want everybody here to be as confident, to be confident that they can identify opportunities and pursue new business. But we are very interested, very capable, and hopefully as a result of this, you'll reach out to us and ask us to help you walk through some of these scenarios with you on the front side until you become comfortable with it. You get a couple of wins, and it doesn't take that many wins within an organization to create some momentum with other people. But we are willing to help whenever it's necessary, as long as it's necessary. But it's really only going to take a few opportunities before you get to the point before you're comfortable. You can walk without any training wheels. This is not rocket science, and we're not, if you're selling gas detection, if you're selling fall protection, if you're selling respirators, it's a lot less complicated than that. But the consequences and the stakes are high when you find the right opportunities. And your effectiveness as a sales professional has everything to do with where you spend your time. And that's really what we want to help you pursue now, is the most fruitful opportunities. That's what we need, is with a partnership, is distributor salespeople that can bring us into places where the opportunity is the greatest. And in our career, myself and Pete discussing this, way more than 90% of the people that we talk to about glasses don't spend a lot of time and energy pursuing it because they don't think there's an opportunity to do it and make the profit that they need to impact their business, their organization's business, their own personal income. And we don't run into too many people that are professionally selling safety glasses. And the key is working backwards, from a solution to a product, okay, to an application, or something that will solve that problem. And a solution identified, and having the ability to have that person state that they agree with you that this is my biggest problem. It's the way the glasses fit. It's it could be any number of things that we reviewed just now. If that person will agree to that, the goal is to narrow it down to as few aspects of value as possible, so that you can address one thing, you can validate that this product delivers value for that particular problem, and the job completes itself at that point. We are not selling. It gives you the ability to be more of a consultant, to be part of their organization, to act like you care about their people as much as they care about their people. And the discovery process, asking these questions that we'll talk about here in just a minute, that will also be a companion to this PowerPoint, is really what the heavy lifting is. And at this point, we're not selling, we're asking, we're identifying, we're researching, we're caring, we're figuring out, what matters to their people. And if nothing matters, find somewhere else to ask the questions. Move on, talk about something else. You've got a lot of different things that you can sell. We're not trying to manufacture problems. We're trying to, because there are enough problems out there that legitimately exist where there's value that we can deliver. But once you get that one piece, that figure out that number one thing that is the biggest problem, and that's 75% of your effort. The other part is bringing it's a matter of doing a wear test, getting some samples for them, validating that it fits enough people, validating that people will wear it for more than half a day, that people give you a positive, will react positively to being offered the solution. And that's, at that point, that's really pretty easy to do because we've been through enough of this. We can point you in the right direction of all of these glasses that we have on the wall in our catalog. Which one or two products are going to likely make the most sense based on the information that you can provide. So as an organization, our goal is to work with distributors, with end users, and to help, to engage with you guys, to work with your inside salespeople to be more comfortable having these conversations. We have 13 direct regional sales managers working for Radians right now that are available to work for you guys within the US and Canada. In addition to our regional reps, many of you probably know manufacturer rep agencies that work for us. But we have 10 different agencies across the United States and Canada that are available to work for you as well. So with that, I'm going to switch over here in the last couple of minutes, just touch base on this, target opportunity questions that Brandon talked about. And there's two kinds of questions. There's a research question, which is kind of figuring out if they have a problem, where they have the problem, what kind of problems they have. And then there are identifying questions. So now that you get to a general, you find a category, you find a department, you find an application that creates a hazard that's a higher level of risk that's resulting in a problem that they want to minimize, then now you can move into questions that deal with, is it fit or function oriented? Is it comfort oriented? Is it fogging oriented? But I shouldn't say, I was about to say I can guarantee you that fogging is always going to be a problem. That's probably not accurate, but fogging will be and should be as big an opportunity as anybody has to address, because there are not a lot of solutions out there that are as effective as Acuity. And a lot of people have moved into anti-fog glasses and have discovered that they don't last all day. They don't last 2 days. They may not last half a day. So these questions are going to be provided with the information that you get. Our sales team is capable of training your inside sales team, taking this to that level. We are also available to help go out and make assessments at the end user level and facilitate wear tests and sample validation programs. And then, as you know, we're making an end user oriented version of this. That's, we take the sales conversation and, protection over price, aspects out of it, and we'll be addressing different glasses from talking more about function and performance, that'll be more end user oriented. And then you guys will be able to use that off of the Saferpedia website to help do training at the end user and support efforts in a number of different areas. So with that, I just want to say how grateful we are for this opportunity to have time for you guys to give us to talk about our protection. We're pretty passionate about it. We believe that we do a really good job at this in terms of reducing injuries, and it's a lot of fun to win a piece of business when they've come to you and they feel like you're going to strengthen your relationship with that organization to a lot higher degree with a solution than you are with a lower price. So at any rate, with that, I don't have anything else to say. I think there might be some, Brandon, are you going to address the potential questions that might have come up?
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. First off, thank you guys, both Pete and yourself. It's great to get your guys' insight and how you've been out there in the field having these conversations many times. So when you guys add that color and that perspective, it's very helpful for us to absorb that experience. So for the attendees, I know we're right at the hour mark, and we had scheduled an hour. So we will hang out a little extra to answer some questions. So please feel free to hang out if you still have time on your schedule. We do have a list of questions over here for you, Dave, that we want to run through. But right before we get into it, I just want to point out, a few things that you nailed, I think, there at the end, and that was in particular, working backwards. I love the idea of using this sheet to help us go and find pain points of the customers. Don't worry about presenting all the solutions, all the products. Find the pains. Come back to Radians. Come back to your team. They'll help you go after the solution, implement it once we know what we're working for this customer and working to help this customer with. Once that's the hard stuff. We know it's the hard stuff. Anybody who's been solution-based sales, we talk about discovery being the hardest part of the sales process. That's why these classes are really geared towards helping us through that discovery stage. So we get better and more proficient at that time, so we can go and find more opportunities that we can implement solutions for. So with that, you guys, we got a few questions that have rattled through on here, and if you still have more questions, please feel free to type them as we're going. The first one was, it's actually a clarification of one of the ANSI standards, I believe, and Damien was asking us, can you help clarify the difference between Z87 and Z87 Plus when he sees that, just so he knows what he's dealing with there.
Hey, Pete?
Yeah. You want me to take that, Dave?
Yeah.
Z87 Plus came about, it was a revision of Z87. Z87 is the original impact standard for safety glasses. They changed it to a plus for high impact because we were getting a lot of inferior glasses that wouldn't pass a high velocity impact test. You had Z87 and then you had a ballistic test, which was way overboard as far as velocity and testing lenses. They needed something in between. They didn't feel like the regular Z87 was strong enough for a high impact projectile without going to a ballistic spec, which some of our glasses meet, some don't, depending on your application. But so I think it was, I'm probably wrong on the date where they changed it to a plus rating. I want to say it was around 2003 or 4 that they added the plus. So you can have glasses on that say Z87. They're protected to a lower degree of impact than a plus. The Z87 Plus is a high impact standard for the glass, and then the military spec is the highest. You don't have to have the military spec. You have to have a Z87 rating on your glasses. Z87 Plus means you have a high impact rating. Just think of it that way.
Brandon?
Yeah, thank you, Pete. That makes a lot of sense, man. That's awesome on that. So now Mike asked us, he said, and this might be in relation to one of the slides we had earlier. So Mike, if you're there and want to help clarify this as we talk about the question, feel free to add some context. He said, are any of the shaded lenses in demand in the healthcare marketplace? If so, can you help point out which ones are most preferable?
So shading is going to only affect, your use if you're working outside, and a very high percentage of healthcare industry is going to be working inside. The shading that will have an impact is lenses that affect the infrared and different ultraviolet rays that you might run into if you're doing teeth whitening, if you're doing you're using infrared for different research applications or treatment applications. So that probably has, that tinting for infrared probably has a bigger impact on what people use than reducing light.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And then Gabe asked, it's been good to see you out there. He said, are there any standards or best practices in the healthcare industry related to how often or under what circumstances glasses should be replaced?
How would you treat that, Pete?
Well, I think he was asking in the healthcare industry, is there what the general standard for safety glasses is? Number one, are they functional? Are the temples intact? Can you see through them? Is there anything missing? Is the foam chipped off? I mean, it's a general inspection of your glasses every day before you go to work. You put on your glasses. Are they functional? I think that's what everybody, I think that's the standard for safety glasses no matter where you work. Are they intact? Are they complete? Are they not so scratched up that you can, your your vision is altered. I think just a general inspection of your overall glasses, no matter if you're in healthcare, if you're in construction, is what you do before you go to work, before you put on your hard hat, before you put on your glasses. Is this thing functional? Is this thing working? Everything here? Can I see through them? I think that's just a general, if you were to ask your OSHA guy who was on site or whatever, he would say the same thing. Do you check your equipment before you put it on? You know, and I think you can tell yourself, if you're in doubt, if you have a doubt, go get another pair of glasses, get another pair of earplugs, get another hard hat. You know, safety is worth more than $12 for, whatever you're spending it on. So you inspect your PPE before you put it on, and if you have a problem, you replace it. Other pieces of PPE from, the makeup of a hard hat, they say maybe 5 years, you should switch it out regardless. Do they have anything like that on glasses? No. Some guys have their glasses in their car. They never use them. They use them very rarely. They're in great condition for a year. Some guys burn through glasses. They scratch them. They get stuff on them. They change them every week. So it's a personal, there's no real menu for what you're supposed to do. It's just really common sense. Inspect your stuff. Make sure that's functional. I think it's true.
And here's, if we don't know the answer to this one now, I'm sorry, Dave, did I cut you off?
No, I was just going to say we're ready for the next one.
Okay. Just as a follow-up to that, out of curiosity, if we don't know the answers, it's so new, that's fine. But do you guys know if there's any disinfectant or requiring of throwing ones away that go into any of those quarantine areas in the hospitals? Like, are they allowed to keep using those, or they got to replace them daily? Any insights there?
I guess the point I would make is if you're using, for instance, this is a pair of glasses that has ventilation that goes through the frame right here, and so there's, you can't even really see the ventilation. It's easy to imagine whether it's a virus germ or any type of foreign object that could get up in there. It'd be a lot harder to sanitize this glass than a frame that is, much simpler. So that's something to take into consideration if you do need to, to spray this with the sanitation solution and wipe it off. The simpler the lens, the simpler the better, more effective you're going to be at that.
It makes good sense. So Dave White asked us. Dave, good to see you out there, man. So he said D3 versus D4 -5 in goggles has been asked for more. Can you talk at what the difference in performance as related to the standards? Can you talk at what the difference in performance as it relates to the standards are? Dave, I'm not sure I understood that question, man. You might have to help clarify that one. While he does that, Dave.
I know that the D3 and the D4 aspects they're not necessarily new, but it's only in the last year that people have been asking about them. And we know that we are capable with most of our goggles of meeting both of those levels. Is it, Pete, is it D4 that's dust?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that has a lot to do, it seems to come into play more often in the critical environment type applications where you want to control anything getting, from the person on the, what you're working on, or vice versa. And what else would you provide or offer to that, Pete?
It's, clean room and food service applications. It's really a dust standard. And when you meet those specific specifications, D3 and D4, your product is allowed to be used in those areas. It's good for clean rooms. It's good for food applications, food processing and whatnot. And it has to do with the viability and cleanability and sanitation of the lens and how it holds those, it gets kind of technical. So it's a standard we have to meet. And it's really, we can share the standards with you if anybody wants to see what exactly it specifies in D3 and D4 about dust and whatnot. I think as salespeople, you need to know that you have that available for the applications that demand it, and that's what I would say. This application demands, if somebody said, in the clean room and this food processing, we only use lenses that are D3, D4 certified. Do you have them? Yes, we do. I really wouldn't get into the monkey and works of the whole thing, because it's a whole bunch of, complicated
Yeah, and we can share with
verbiage.
you very,
Yeah.
we can share
You
with
just
you
want to
like-
meet the specs.
All right, yeah, and we can make it clear what products meet what specs and what products, if you let us know we have to meet that spec, we can eliminate a product
Right.
that don't satisfy that requirement.
And, just based on Dave's interest on it, it might make sense for us to send him that explanation you're talking about, Pete, so he has that as a reference. So
Yeah,
Dave
absolutely.
also asked us, and the questions are coming in, y'all appreciate these. Dave also asked us, what's the shelf life of Equity, just so he has that as a reference.
We rated it 1 year, and we've had really good success with it. We haven't been able to keep anything in stock for much more than a month and a half with the demand that's been going on for glasses with Acuity or with mask usage. But it does have a higher than average shelf life with compared to other other manufacturers' premium coatings. So.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the things that you'll see with Acuity is that instead of being, glasses with Acuity coating have a sealed bag. They come packaged in a sealed bag, either in a box. So you got to break the seal to get the glass out, which extends the life of the coating.
Yeah, that coating packaged is a shelf life of 2 years. So if you were to bring them into stock, unopened packages, have been in there a year and a half, they're still good. They're still good. 2 years, still good. The coating's still 100% on.
Oh, very cool. So if I understand properly, if it's in the package 2 years, and when it comes out, you got about a year of running the shelf, and that's awesome. So I got a question here from, and this one's come up a few times, so I'm gonna address it for a few people. Clearly, they were valuing what you guys put together in the deck. A couple of folks are asking if we could share a copy of a PDF with them of the deck. So just something to consider offline. We will share it with you guys if Radians wants to make an abbreviated deck or whatnot. I think maybe you guys be willing to share it.
Yeah, definitely. And we, like I said, we really want to use this to strengthen our relationship, make ourselves more relevant, and to whatever degree that's, we can achieve that. So.
Awesome. And then also in the same vein, as just someone was asking, given that demand you suggested, are these glasses pretty available, or are there certain ones they need to be aware of that are going to be hard to get a hold of?
From a supply chain standpoint, it kind of fluctuates. We've been able to catch up with demand and get ahead of it with the increases that have happened with anti-fog coatings. So if we get into a large situation and you have a large population of people and you expect, to see, 3,000 to 5,000 pairs of glasses being consumed on a monthly basis, then that's definitely something we need to prepare for. And we can let you know where we stand and how soon, or how quickly we can respond and be in a position to be, have the pipeline in place where we have inventory to support it.
Awesome. Hey, that's the name of the game right now, right, for everybody. So, so on a few more here, guys. So Dave Johnson over there, Dave, good to see you out there too, man. It's so he says, with fogging being a top concern, do you guys know of any ANSI or OSHA regulations that are going to be addressing the anti-fog requirements for people?
I do not. That's a great question. I don't know. I've thought about that before. I just don't know how OSHA could address that. Fogging is
the degree of anti-fog performance. Yeah, I don't know that it's come up. It's been discussed, but I don't know that anybody's figured out a path forward to come up with something that could make it a standard.
Be an interesting thing to see them start pursuing. They're going to be running out there selling that stuff. So Dave had another a question, and he is Dave White. He said, blocking blue light as it comes to like screen time on our phones seems to be emerging. What lenses or solutions do you guys have for folks in that scenario?
For blue light, that's a great question. There's so many lens colors, and I think people don't even realize what they're for, but there's a reason for every lens color. Now, if you want to block blue light, you have to use an amber or yellow lens. Yellow will block blue. So if you ever go outside, and we make a lot of shooting glasses, we do a lot in sporting goods, they're all amber copper lenses. Why is that? Because that yellow light takes out the blue light. Blue light, when you take it out, makes things more transfixed. Like if you ever look through, they sell blue blockers on TV or shooting glasses, you're like, wow, I can see everything a little bit better. It cuts down on the contrast because that's all that blue light. That's all you're doing. Now, the opposite of that is yellow light. And people will, well, where do you see yellow light? You ever go into a parking garage or an old warehouse and it has a yellow hue? That's sodium lighting. All sodium lighting is very cheap lighting, and it gives off a yellow hue. So you look across the room, it looks yellow. You wear blue glasses. You wear blue lenses. We make blue lenses. That's what they're for, taking the yellow light out. So if you wear blue lenses in a sodium lighted facility, it'll take out the yellow hue, parking garages, warehouses. If you wear yellow, amber, copper glasses in a blue light application outside, outside is probably being the biggest, it'll take out the blue light. So blue blocker, yellow blocker, same thing. I don't think.
And you guys have those kind of lenses available as options?
Absolutely. Yep. We have just about every lens color available.
That's great. Yeah, I've seen blue. Everyone's trying to get them for their own personal glasses now, so you can get rid of all the smartphone time and all that. So another one from Dave Johnson. So he came up and he said, do you guys know if there's any sort of data or test data on foam lined glasses having anti-splash capabilities? So I know you said it's a functional thing, but is there anything that shows, hey, it's like 70% effective, something like that?
Not that I know of. I don't know if you, Dave, know that. I don't know if it's truly sealed or if it's going to go that way. Like, for example, a lot of our foam glasses will put little notches in the foam lining to get some air in there so that it helps with the fogging. See the notches in there? So is that really sealed? It's pretty sealed, right? If you're cutting wood and there's particulates and drywall. But if I splashed you with something, would it get through? Yeah. So, not that I know of. Maybe it'll go that way. Maybe they'll come out with foam glasses that are, meet the same splash requirements as splash goggles. But I haven't heard of any, and we don't have any. So.
To me, it's felt the same way. I'm like, I'm not sure if that's out there yet. That's a great question, Dave. Appreciate that one, man. And then here we go. We got our last one, unless we get some more coming in here. This one's from Robert Bowers. He said, how and why does the coating degrade if still in the original packaging? I think he's referring to the anti-fog, just so he has an understanding to be able to explain to people.
Dave, you got any idea on that? I don't know the properties of the anti-fog coating and why they would dissipate or be less. My guess is they're probably not 100% after 2 years as far as lasting as long as they would have. I don't know what the conditions are for storage or not. I don't know. Dave, what do you think?
For the coating and the IQD coating that we use is it's hardened, and it's much more inert, I guess would be a better way to say it. Coatings that are used, the original coatings that people used in the past, they were a solution that was added to it and it dried. So there wasn't necessarily the ability for it to harden and become, it was softer. It was easier to wipe off, and it was easier to just kind of dissipate because of the process of the chemical process of, or the mechanical process of applying it and curing it. So.
Oh man, very cool differentiation there, versus just that liquid coating versus your guys' hardens on there is more fixed to the lenses. That great question, Robert. I'm glad we got that clarification out there. It helps put that equity out there a little bit more. Equity. So other than that, y'all, I think that addresses all the questions that we've had from the class here. Again, thanks everybody for attending and hanging with us the extra time for the questions here. I'm confident that these two would be more than happy to talk to anybody offline about questions they have or follow-ups. As a reminder, we will send you that questioning technique, that target opportunity sheet that Dave pulled up. So you'll get a summary of how to navigate that conversation with the customers. And it does sound like they're going to have some sort of version of the deck available for reference as well. So appreciate everybody attending. We look forward to having you guys out there and hunt. Please be on the lookout for when these guys conduct their end user webinar. I believe they're looking to get it done sometime early next week. So when that's completed, we will share those links with your organizations. People in your marketing teams have the access to it, or else it's your management and leadership teams if the marketing team isn't there. But they all have access to those webinars. You can share them with your own social media links. You can share them on your own LinkedIn and see what kind of leads, what kind of people click through them. That way you can go call them and see what you can drum up out there. So we look forward to seeing you guys conduct that, and happy hunting out there, everybody.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.